Thank you all for being here to this February installment of the Focus On program. We're joined today by Janet Marler. She's the library director of Marion City Library. So Janet, thanks for being here. You mentioned that being on the spot isn't necessarily your favorite place to be, so we really appreciate you going out on a limb and talking with us here this afternoon for 30 minutes for those of us who are here live and also those who tune in over YouTube. So to get us started, for those of us who aren't familiar with you, could you just introduce yourself and maybe let us know how long you've been at your library, that type of thing?
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Janet Marler with the Marion City Library. I started in 1974 as part-time and worked probably about 10 hours a week. And then over the time, got a few more hours. And then in 1990, the previous library director retired. So I took over full-time. And so I've been here for quite a few years and through lots and lots of changes, from no computers to lots of computers to the card catalog, no more drawers, to being online. And so there's been so many changes that we've gone through all these years. So it's kind of nice that I can remember back when and yet hopefully keep up with technology that's going on today. So I love every aspect of the library, especially love the children's section, the kids that come in, the children's books. I love planning events and having programs. Looking at new books when they come in is like Christmas. So in a box, we're all excited about what new books are there. I just enjoy my job so much. I have a great staff and a great board, and it just all makes it worthwhile. I love coming to work every day.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. If I do the math, that would be 50 years. So that's quite something. And interesting how you mentioned that all of the changes you've seen. Actually, when you started, the regional systems probably hadn't been around all that terribly long.
About 8 or 10 years.
Yeah.
It was really new when I started, and so seen a lot of changes with that.
You've seen them change quite a bit too over time.
So much, yeah. Offered a lot more services than they started out with. So
right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your community just a little bit. What can you tell us about Marion for those of us who are not familiar with the town?
2,000 people. We're located between the Marion Reservoir and the Marion County Lake. So if you're campers or fishermen, you need to stop by. We are known for our stone buildings. We have a lot of stone buildings with architecture. We are the county seat. We have a beautiful courthouse just across the street from us. We have the Elgin Hotel, which is a historic hotel. It was built in 1862, I believe, and they've restored it over the past few years. It's a beautiful place. They also have the restaurant there. Just a small town, but a very oriented community, very supportive of us. Just great little community.
And you said that there's a restaurant, huh? And a bed and breakfast. So there's definitely some things to visit the lakes and throw some tourism dollars your way. What can you tell us about how your library operates? Those of us who are library nerds and want to talk about boards and hours and staffing. What's that look like at your place?
45 hours a week. I'm the only full-time person. I have 2 part-time staff, Vicki and Cindy, and they work maybe 20 hours a week. We have a couple of girls that work just on Saturdays, and then we have teacher that works for the summer that she helps us with summer reading programs and things. So it's a good staff. We all work together well, and they're very supportive and just a great staff. Our board, of course, consists of 7 people, and we've always had very fortunate luck with our board, and they're being supportive and work with us and just always ready to help and to improve the library any way we can. That's about all, just a typical library then.
So let's talk a little bit more about your library in this community. And as part of that, If you all didn't know, you can see in our slides, which I should probably advance, that they were, there's a couple pictures from the city I forgot to go through. But here with this slide, they were awarded the best small library in Kansas in 2023. And there's some of those staff members that I believe Janet was telling us about. So tell us about the library that we're looking at, the outside of the building there. And if you could also just tell us a little bit about what it's like to be the best small library in Kansas for the year.
Originally, we started at the city building, which is now housing the city offices. We were there, it was in 1932, they were built the city building, and we were part of that. It was a WPA program. Then in 1999, we were losing some of our historic buildings, and so we formed a committee to try and go through town to save some of our older buildings. The depot came up as one of the buildings we wanted to try to save. So in 1999, we started the process of getting a KDOT transportation grant to restore the depot and move the library in there. And we approved the grant. In 2002, we finally moved in. So we've been here 22 years. And so this depot is now the library. The depot was built in 1912. We had architects from Overland Park that came in and looked it over and helped us restore it. They were surprised how well the depot turned into a functional library, with children's section being on one end and the adults on the other end, and the circulation desk and computers in the middle. There you can see some pictures of our children's area with the rocking chair and little train. Of course, we have to have a little train set because of the depot. And then we have a reading section on the south. And then if you go down the hallway, you'll see that we have some memorabilia from the depot that was there originally that we either gotten back or was here. So it's a functional library, but at the same time, we've restored and kept as much of the depot history that we could, because it is an important part of our history of the depot that served us. So in 2014, when we moved over here, it doubled our space from what we previously had. So we thought, well, we're good for a long time, but we realized with the move that our circulation increased and our program attendance increased. So in 2014, we added honor room to the south end of the depot, and we call that our Santa Fe room. It's probably 30 by 30, and that's where we have our programs and our luncheons and our story times, our movies, whatever we have it there. It also gave us access to have a community room for the community to rent, and that's been huge too. That gives people another place to rent and have their functions there. So if the space is just fits so well for a library, surprisingly. And a lot of the bookcases that we had fit in there. We didn't have to buy a whole lot because the existing shelving did fit in there, so that was nice. But the children had their own little reading area. The other library, we always had to move tables and chairs and make room for that. But right now they have their own little story time section, so kids totally enjoy that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure that was interesting, that conversion from using the space for people to jump on the train or waiting for people to arrive to being the library. And looks like you take into the train theme, at least across the children's sections, quite a bit there.
We could with the train, because we want to keep that history. We have a lot of elderly people that come in and remember getting on the train or else working on the Santa Fe Railroad. And so I think they enjoy seeing the library, but also reminiscing about how the depot was in its day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that was kind of our physical space. So let's talk a little bit about some of your programs. I know a lot of them are annual programs that people look forward to every year. And then maybe some of the other services or types of things you provide, things outside of the collection that your patrons are fond of.
Because you see, we have our annual quilt show. We've been doing that since we first moved in here. We usually sew between 25 and 30 quilts. We've got some volunteers that are helping us hang the quilts. It's a beautiful quilt show. We have very much talent in our area, and so it's a great way to showcase those quilts and quilters. The next picture was Jan Brett. I was fortunate enough to get to go to Wichita and see her program and meet with her and get a signed copy of her book. So that was a thrill for me to actually see a famous author that way in person. picture down below is my husband driving the train with the little cars behind it. We do that for our Holly Jolly Christmas that our community has. And so this was one day during Christmas break when the kids didn't have school. He offered to drive it again and let the kids ride in it. And of course, they had a great time doing that. The next picture is one of our staff members when we were reading to dogs. And this was Sissy, and she was a great participant with that. The next picture over is one of our local florists, and we have lunch and learn programs. And she did our luncheon and showed how to arrange flowers and a description about how to do flowers and how to keep them and all. So we try to do lunch and learns periodically every few months, different topics of cooking or baking, sewing, crafting, just whatever we happen to find. We're doing one in April on health. And so we have a nurse coming in presenting that program. And it's just a way for the people to get together. We have sort of a light lunch and they get to see a program and it lasts about an hour. And so it's a good program to have for that. So
for that, Janet, is that usually, do you rely on people from your community then, or is that usually looking outside to bring people in?
So that some of our programs are from out of town people that participate are all local people. Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
yeah, so it's kind of hard to get around, but yeah, most of it is for the community.
And you serve a complimentary lunch to everybody that attends, is that right? And what
for the lunch?
What was that?
We charge $5 for the lunch.
Okay, great. It's nice to know how that works. I'm sure people kind of have to figure out, cost versus getting people fed.
Lunch is $5.
And it looks like that train is something that your husband does bring out every year around the holidays. Is that right?
Years, our community does that, and they borrow it from another city, and so we just rent it for the day or two. So
I see.
but yeah, good with our training theme, so the kids love it.
I bet they do. I bet they look forward to riding in that. So let's talk a little bit. Let's open it up a little bit more about maybe any partnerships that you have. Some of these pictures I chose, I was just trying to pull with some of the community outreach that you do, but anything about these partnerships or outreach that you do there in Marion?
Was our past city administrator, and he came and read to the kids for story time, and they were all impressed with that he was a celebrity type thing. So he did a great job with doing that. The bottom picture is our gazebo that we got with our ARPA grant, and this is some board members that are sealing it. We had it for a year, and then our contractor said we need to just seal it. So that's some board members there doing that and helping out with sealing that for us. The next picture is when we did the depot, we had to raise $185,000 for our contribution of that. And so we had lots and lots of fundraisers. This was done by a local person who no longer is with us, but it's probably 20 by 20 inches, I suppose. And that is kind of the emblem that we did on our t-shirts and our cookbook and any fundraising that we did. This was the logo that people saw. And so when they saw this logo, they knew that it was a library related function for the fundraiser. And so this is made out of copper and wire, and we hang that in our Kansas room. It says preserving the past, protecting the future, and then down at the bottom it says from trains to books. So that was kind of our logo for the library.
One thing that we had our tech check a week ago, and one thing that I mentioned to Janet is from just looking at the Facebook page and the website, I was impressed that it seems like the community really is open to pitching in for work that needs to be done. That work that looks like happens in the spring, cleaning up maybe the kind of the planters or the pavers. And it seems like that's pretty common when you need something done, that there's somebody in the community who kind of makes it happen.
Very fortunate. We started the fundraising. We had people just donate to us, just the community and outside of the community. They were all supportive and have been all the time. It's very community oriented for us. And if we need anything, I can just ask, and we have volunteers come to help us. We have lots of memorial monies given to the library from people, and that has helped us buy furniture and books and just lots of things that we wouldn't have been able to purchase if it wasn't for the memorial money. So we're very lucky that we have such community support, very much so.
uh, on the technical library side, because you do have so many memorials, that makes me wonder, the consultant in me, about, have you had to adjust policies or anything like that, or procedures for these memorials, as you're trying to kind of work with your space that you have, and what you're able to hold on to like forever and ever? Does that come up in your 50 years of experience?
It does a little bit. We have in our policy that our board or staff have the right to get rid of a book once it's reached its peak or outdated or whatever. We always contact the family when we do that to see if they want the book. Sometimes that's hard to do because it's been so many years ago. But furniture wise, we try and get things that we know will always fit and will last for us. And then we always put a little plaque on any piece of furniture or inside the book that says who it's to and who it's from. So it's just a nice way to always remember that person. And usually the people the memorials are left for were very, very big patrons of the library. So it's just a nice constant reminder of those people. That yeah, we did have to put some policies kind of in place with that because things do get old and they do break down. But so far we've been fortunate that everything stayed well so far.
And I didn't have this down, but I usually do ask about it, and you've kind of brought it up a little bit, is talking about fundraising. What works for you all there? I'm guessing some of these programs we've looked at are probably part fundraisers as well.
We still do a little fundraising, not as much as we did at first. When we did the depot renovation, we did cookbooks, which are kind of a thing of the past now, but we did t-shirts, we did every event that came along. We were there with pizza or ice cream sundaes or whatever it took. We sold bricks with their names on them as a fundraiser. Just did lots and lots of fundraisers. Because we do the Christmas home tours. We've been doing that for 20 years. So each December we have 4 homes that are on display to our community and surrounding areas. And that's been a huge success for us. We've had some beautiful homes.
Yeah,
And
that was a really interesting one, that I haven't seen libraries doing. So you pick 4 homes every December, and then those are kind of like open house. How does it work?
yes, the 4 homes, we go through their homes and see everything that they want to show us and see their decorations and the history of the homes. And yeah, everyone for 20 years, and we're a small community, so we're fortunate that we still find homes to do that.
Yeah.
And that shows the support we have with our community, that people are willing to do it because it's for the library. And that's kind of where that still stems from, is that they're helping us out and they feel proud to do that. But yeah, we've been doing it for 20 years and it's just a fun event. We have refreshments at the library and they're all simple little appetizers, and you get a recipe book with that, and our charge for the home tours are $5. So it's quite the bargain. You get to see the homes and still have refreshments. One of the fundraisers we've started the last 10 years or so is a plant sale. So in May, we have over 650 plants, the baskets, flowering baskets, and we sell those, and there the community purchases those. And so that's a lot of baskets, flowering baskets. And there again, our community comes along and supports us by purchasing those. And I probably need about 12 to 15 volunteers to help sort the plants and deliver the plants. And we have that. No problem getting people to help. The high school class comes first thing in the morning and helps us unload the truck. So they put the 650 plants off the truck into the building. And so that's a huge help. So that's a couple of the fundraisers we do.
Out of curiosity, where do you get these plants? Who is it from?
The Osho Gardens out of Council Grove.
Okay. And so do you have to take a lot of time to pick which plants they're going to send you, or is it kind of like, send us what you got?
We say, we want 200 geraniums and 300 Boston ferns, and they bring them over that way.
So maybe not a ton of prep work, but it does sound like on the day of, it's all hands on deck.
You have to keep track of who wants what, so there is a little bit of constant keeping track of the orders, but it's a fun thing because everyone's so happy to get them. And as you drive through town, you can say, "Oh, they were at the plant sale," and you can see all the plant sales.
Nice. You can see your supporters on their front porch.
Yeah, I did it. So
I can't recall if you told me, do you have a friends group? Have you mentioned that?
have a what?
A Friends of the Library group?
We don't have an
Yeah.
official one, but we have one. I consider that we do have one because we do have friends that I
Yeah.
call on that are right there. Most of the people that are supportive of us and help us so much are already so busy that they just want to help when I need help and not attend another meeting and have
Right.
all that there. So I feel like we do have a friends group. It's just not an organized friend.
Gotcha. Yeah, you have lots of friends, clearly.
Yes, lots of friends. Not a
Okay.
fundraiser, but we do have an Easter egg hunt each year. We
Oh, right.
partner with the Kiwanis. They give us the money for the Easter eggs, and then we buy the candy and the eggs, and we stuff about 1,500 eggs. And Kiwanis helps with that, and the library board helps with that. We stuff those, and then we put them out in our yard. Our surrounding area of the depot has got lots of grass areas, so it's an ideal place to have an Easter egg hunt. So we do that every year, and we have fun with the kids for that.
Yeah, it looks like that's really popular. I'm sure it depends on how the weather is that day as well.
We've done it in the snow before, so.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that was great to hear more about those partnerships and the fundraising. So we didn't talk a whole lot about the KLA Best Small Library, and I know you mentioned, I asked you before we started, just what does your community think about that? And you did kind of celebrate a little bit locally once you got the award, right?
Yeah, we had a reception. First, we got to go to Wichita to the conference and pick up the award and have lunch there. That was fun. The staff and I went. Then after we got back, we had a reception about a week later and had cupcakes and cookies, and that was fun. A lot of the kids came, and we had great participation with the community with that. Like I said, then we did the billboard out on the highway, and we have the sign hanging up in the library so people know. But yeah, the community has been very proud of us, and we have been too. So,
Yeah.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah, I think that was before we started. You mentioned the city owns a billboard, right? So that, but it sounds like you guys are able to get a lot of eyes on that for people that pass through your community.
It's a lot of traffic on that road, and so it's a good way to reach out of town people and make them.
Right. And then because we are in partnership for this program with KLA, I wondered if clearly you went to conference this last year, and I would guess it probably wasn't your first conference. What can you tell us about professional organizations? What do you get out of it? Which ones do you belong to?
So many resources that they offer to us, great advice, just a lot of information that they provide that we use. Manhattan is also a great resource for us for anything we have. The staff there just is so great and helps us with anything. We partner with parents as teachers in our county, and they're great help. They help us with story times or times for Halloween and Christmas times, and so we try and partner with them to help them get more parents aware, and then also help us just to have another program for the kids. I'm part of Marion Merchants. We don't have a chamber in Marion. They did away with that years ago, but we have started a Marion Merchants group, and it's local business people that kind of get together twice a month, and we find out what everybody's doing and kind of help with that. We just kind of are taking over as chamber. We support each other, and we are aware of what other groups are doing and what other businesses are doing. And we plan Holland Jolly, and there's just kind of Halloween event, and so it's kind of a small group, but it definitely makes you aware of what's going on in town. And as a librarian, I think it really has based communication with other businesses that they now know what we do. They're willing to help us more because I think they understand us more.
Yeah.
And seeing us help them, they want to help us in return.
Excellent. Well, that's been very interesting. Thanks for sharing so much about your library. I was going to mention you were also a Library Journal 5-star award, and it sounds like you've done the Star Award program many times over the years. And it's always nice to be recognized for that.
We've been blessed with that. I've received the 5-star 3 times, and so it's always kind of a surprise when we find it, because but yeah, it's been an honor to do that too. We've been very fortunate.
All right, well, thank you for being with us, Janet. It's really nice to meet you and hear about all of your time there at the library. And I wanted to also thank Jan Johnson, who is your new consultant there, for suggesting you amongst some of her other member libraries that we'll get to, I'm sure, later this year. So thank you, everybody, for being with us, as it looks like a nice spring day here. And over on this part of Kansas, we'll be celebrating that Super Bowl victory. So it's been a really exciting time. Thanks a lot for being with us today, everybody. We'll be back next month with another installment.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.